See, when I do the front-facing camera on the cell phone, I always kind of want to look over here at myself and instead of looking at the camera. It always seems to be the hardest part for me. There's something to be said about the simplicity of making a video off of your cell phone, not worrying about putting any music in the background or anything like that. Literally, the entire production of the video is just done off the cell phone, uploaded, and it's kind of liberating in a way. No takes, no scripts, none of that. Just you off the cuff. So I'm making kind of a response video, but I also thought it was an interesting subject. Couple interesting subjects today. But yeah. So what's going on with me? First thing, I ended up canceling my order for the Super Nintendo, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One of them being monetary. I had thought that they had taken, and I had originally thought that Walmart had taken out the money for the order already. And when going through my books the other day, I realized that they didn't, and I wasn't. It's only $80, but that would put me below kind of my comfort zone where I like to be on my bank account. So I was just like, screw it, and went ahead and canceled the order. So I'll probably end up looking for one, sooner or later. But if they're not around, I'm not gonna cry over it too much. Um, After getting this thing here, and I just realized the image is reversed on the front-facing camera. That's weird. After getting this guy here, and messing around with emulation on the computer more, messing around with emulation on my phone, being able to take this clip and use my phone almost as like a Game Boy-esque device has been kind of a liberating experience in a way. And some of the filters and stuff I can do compared to the options available on the Super Nintendo Classic. And it's, I'll fully admit that it was mostly nostalgia is what I was getting at, and the packaging and that kind of stuff. And that's a reason why I have this guy up here is nostalgia reasons. I don't actually really ever use that. I would like to, but I can't get a hold of the HD conversion kit for this. They actually make one where you take the CPU, GPU out, put them in a socket, there's a little board in, and you can mill out like a little spot for an HDMI cable. And from what I've seen, it's awesome. I can never get my hands on one. I'd love to, because this thing's practically brand new. Like, it's almost never been used. The box looks beat up, but it's because it's been sitting in the garage for like 30 years or something like that. Anyways, back to my original point. So as I was thinking about that, then this news about the Atari box came out, and they said the Atari box is x86, which is what I expected. They said that from day one. I had no reason to not believe that it was x86. And they also said that it was going to be $250 to $300, but it's okay. It's real wood. If I was going to spend $250 to $300, I would just get a PlayStation at that point. I love the fact that they're saying that this thing's open. That's great. I love the fact that they're saying, all these things, but it feels like it's $100 too much, and in my opinion, quite possibly even $50 at the outlier. Like, I would have been happy to pay $200 if it would have been a box that could run stuff like Shovel Knight or other Linux types games, and not even like high power games. Like, I think this box would have served itself better if it would have been, we're going to allow emulators, we're going to allow classic stuff on there, we're going to make it easy for you to have a ton of filters and stuff on there, we're going to do emulation right, and on top of that, we're going to go out there and to give you that nostalgic feel of games back in the day. That's what they should have centered around. It's not like stuff like Minecraft and stuff like that, like they were talking about in the thing. They should have centered around games to invoke a retro feel, and they could have gotten games on board like Cave Story, Shovel Knight, some of the guys over at Joy Masher with their Odalis and Oniken games. Just a few off the top of my head. And I think that would have had a place in the market. But that conversation's completely over just by the price. And I'm not happy that it's on Indiegogo. For me to really back anything, it has to be on Kickstarter. And the reason being is you have to show proof of concept. Even the fact that they're on Indiegogo, without any like actual real proof of concept, without any real discussion about the games, to me, this whole idea, I was really behind it. I think the box is really sexy looking. I'm actually weird. I actually like the black box better than the wood grain, but looks more like the Darth Vader one, which I liked better. But that discussion's over. You know, as far as I'm concerned, I hate throwing things under the bus, but the way I see it, I didn't do it. Atari did. Yeah, so that's effectively where I stand on the whole Atari thing. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about was I watched a couple of videos today, and one that was really interesting was there's this guy called John Hancock on YouTube, but I don't know if he's on VidMe. I haven't looked him up on VidMe. If he is, I'm going to follow him there. But John Hancock has, I think it's the forever mortal John Hancock, just to be honest with you, has brought up a very interesting thing. Now, he's mostly a console gamer, and, you know, that's his choice. And he brought up an interesting thing where he talks about he doesn't support buying digital games because from his standpoint with the console makers, digital games cost more than they do, or cost just as much as the physical copy. So why would you get one? And I can see that, but you get into this chicken and egg argument with me. And this is why I primarily have a hard time getting a console. As I've gotten older, I've realized that there's a ton of games out there to play, and although I may be missing the Uncharted's and the Halos and stuff like that, you know, some things like my principles, and I 100% agree with his attitude of you should vote with your wallet, and those games are nice, and I would like to play those games, but at the same time, I don't like the way they're distributed. I don't like the experience I'm getting on the console. I think for the money that you're paying, you should get a better experience. I think especially for the fact that you pay for online on a lot of consoles, you should get a better experience. Like downloads, if I have like, you know, the ability to download at like 11 megs a second, get a drink of water, because my voice is going already. You should probably get as fast as download speed. I don't pay anything for Steam. You know, you pay for the game, and that effectively pays for your membership of it, and it gets downloaded as quick as possible. So going back to this whole digital download thing on consoles, I 100% agree with them. If you could buy the two, buy the digital copy, or buy the physical copy, not the digital. They're really not ever any cheaper. And there's no reason to. Now, the reason I don't like physical copies is I don't have a nostalgic link to them anymore. I have my classic stuff, and that's fine. But I really like having space. Space is like a premium for me, right? And so I don't want to store all these games all the time. So I'd rather have a digital copy. But going back with the vote with your wallet thing, the reason I don't really own a console anymore is because, let alone the experience side of everything, but I don't agree with that either, that those games should not cost as much as the physical copy. And so when I was left with that alternative and I started looking around, the only place where you can get digital copies cheaper than even the physical copies is on PC. And, you know, I decided to make my bed there. And I just deal with the fact that I'm probably not going to play a lot of these games. If the consoles get cheap enough, say like $150 or something, I might buy into them to play those few games. But I wasn't going to buy into them at, you know, the full $400 price. It's just not worth it, and especially when the games didn't even exist yet. So that's where I'm kind of at. It's like almost like a weird chicken and the egg mentality with the console market. It's like, what do you do? What do you do? You know, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you support the digital downloads, they'll probably keep charging them at that price because they see they can get away with it. If you don't, then they'll keep on making physical copies, which I really don't want. I don't know. But that's the stance I took. I took the PC route, and I've been loving it for a couple of years. And I don't know. I want to know what you guys think about this, but that's kind of my response to this whole thing. All right. So you guys have a great day. I'm coming up on 10 minutes. And I'd like to hear from you. All right, later.